What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. Now, guys, I'm sure most of us didn't watch the Oscars last night. It's just not what we do. However, there was a story that came out of this that I find interesting, and I want to bounce it off you guys because it's being written a certain way, and I like to have balance. You guys know I like balance. But what this is, it's another opportunity for the media to dump on what they consider to be conservatives out there who pointed out that there was something a little bit peculiar about the way Michelle Yeoh, who won for Best Actress, was referred to when she got her award. Okay, now this was on NPR.com, and Michelle Yeoh was referred to as the first woman who identifies as Asian to win a Best Actress Oscar. Who identifies as Asian. Now, of course, we've been seeing Michelle Yeoh out there for a long time. She's paid her dues. I love her. Most of what she's in, I've always liked. Congratulations to her. It's a great feat. But why would you refer to her as the first woman who identifies as Asian? So some people saw that and they were like, hey, enough, because we know that whole identifies as thing, it's not without, its connotation. When you hear this, you're thinking, okay, this is more of that thing that Hollywood is doing. All right. But people are pushing back against that, saying that it's conservatives being paranoid, overreacting, and dare I say, being racist. They just throw that stuff out there like it's popcorn these days. You're a racist. You're a racist. Ha! Here, take this, right? So let's get into this article that I have here on HuffPost.com so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about here. And it says, news report of Michelle Yeoh's Oscar victory triggers knee-jerk outrage. A report describing Yeoh's historic Oscars win for Best Actress set them off. And this article is by Ron Dicker. Dicker. I hardly know her. All right, going on. It says here, conservatives and others push back against NPR Sunday for referring to Michelle Yeoh, as the first person who identifies as Asian to win the Best Actress Oscar. Now, the controversy brewed on Twitter following the Everything Everywhere All at Once star's historic victory at the 95th Academy Awards. Many accused the outlet of taking so-called wokeness to the extreme, even as several Twitter users pointed out that NPR was likely giving a nod to Meryl Oberon, a 1936 Oscar nominee who hid her Asian heritage. Readers later added a note to NPR's tweet for context. Okay, so apparently this actress Meryl Oberon in 1936 won the Oscar, but she was hiding her Asian heritage. Now, we'll get into whether or not that's true or not in a minute. But it says here, the knee-jerk reactions came anyway. And then they give you a bunch of reactions from Twitter where people are saying things like, she doesn't identify as shit, you twerps. She is Asian. She was born in Malaysia to Malaysian parents. So what would you say she identify as other than Asian? Aborigine? You're pathetic and a waste of taxpayer money. Use English correctly. She is Asian. And then you get a bunch of reactions like that there. Going down the line where everyone is saying that please stop with what you're doing. And of course, like I said, this reaction is not happening for nothing. This is what is going on these days. Everyone is identifying as something. You could be a grown man these days and say that I identify as a toad, and you expect people to see you as a toad. I'm a man, but I identify as a woman. I'm this, but I identify as that. And it has gone too far. So, of course, when you see that terminology being used, people are going to cry foul. Now, I got a point to make regarding this Meryl Oberon person, okay? They say that she hid her Asian heritage. Now, let's see if this is true, guys. I got this on Wikipedia. I looked her up, right? It says here, for most of her life, Meryl protected herself by concealing the truth about her parentage, claiming that she had been born in Tasmania, Australia, and that her birth records had been destroyed in a fire. Now, why would Meryl do this? Why would she hide her parentage? Not her Asian heritage, but her parentage, okay? Why would she do this? Well, She was raised as the daughter of Arthur Terence O'Brien Thompson, a British mechanical engineer from Darlington who worked in India Railways, and his wife, Charlotte Selby, a Eurasian from Ceylon, which is present-day Sri Lanka. However, according to her birth certificate, Merle's biological mother was Charlotte's then 12-year-old daughter, Constance. Uh-oh. So, her so-called big sister was actually her mother, and the one who was pretending to be her mother was her, in fact, grandmother. Now, why would that be? Well, to avoid scandal, Charlotte raised Merle as Constance's half-sister. Charlotte had herself given birth to Constance at the age of 14 as the result of a scrape by Harold Alfred Selby, the Anglo-Irish foreman of a tea plantation. In their 1983 biography on Oberon, Charles Hyham and Roy Moseley also claimed Selby had Maori ancestry, her iwi being unknown. Okay, so the fact of the matter is, this Merle Oberon didn't hide her Asian heritage. She was hiding her parentage because of all the scandal that was attached to it. Her mother was being passed off as her half-sister. Okay, so in her real, the one who was pretending to be her mother was her grandmother. Okay, so she wanted to avoid the scandal. So that's the reason why she did what she did. So fast forward to present day, to try to deflect from the fact that they use this terminology that Michelle Yeoh is a woman who identifies, the first woman who identifies as Asian, is in fact incorrect. It's wrong. All right. To me, they're probably doing exactly what the so-called conservatives and others accuse them of doing. They're trying to introduce this new terminology in there to move forward this crazy mixed up agenda, guys. Because let's face it, like I said before, identifying as anything gets to be confusing when it goes against the fact of the matter. Now, she's saying that, or they're claiming that Michelle Yeoh is the first woman who identifies as Asian to win an Oscar. Now, what if Meryl Streep, all right, Meryl Streep has won a shit ton of Oscars. What if she looked back on the year that she won her Oscar? Pick a year. She won just about every year that she was in. Let's say she won in 1988 or something. I don't know if she did, but let's say if she did. She won in 1988. Meryl Streep could look back on it and say, you know what? I think that year I was identifying as Asian. Oh, history has been changed. Actually, the first woman who identified as Asian was Meryl Streep. Give it up for Meryl Streep. Ni hao. Oh, wait, that's... yeah, okay, that is Asian. Yes, ni hao, Meryl Streep. You know, so it gets to be a little bit confusing, wouldn't you say? I mean, let's look at Barack Obama, for example. Barack Obama is biracial in much the same way as Merle Oberon was biracial. Barack Obama is biracial, yet he gets to identify as black, and so the whole world considers him to be the first black president. But in fact, he was not. He was the first biracial president. And if I ever made it to be president, I would have something to say about that, because my black ass is 100%. And I would consider myself to be, in fact, the first black president of the United States. We have not seen that yet. We've seen a biracial president. But see, this is what I'm talking about. When you're just allowed to identify as whatever you want to identify as. I just got shouted down on videos for saying that I'd rather identify as a human being. And go figure, that's exactly what I am. But the world forces me to be identified as a black man or a black person. And people have no problem with that, okay? That's what it has to be. That's what it has to be. But if it was all about what we identify as, then, you know what I mean? It gets just a little bit more complicated than all of that, okay? Sometimes it just is what it is, all right? Michelle Yeoh, she's an Asian. She won the Oscar, and that's what it is. She's the first Asian woman to win an Oscar. She said history has been made. All right. So to report it as she's a woman who's identifying as Asian it's just going all out of the way, and it's just opening up the door for more shenanigans. You best believe that's what it is, and that's the way they called it, and I don't have a problem with that, guys. But you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about that. Do you feel that the so-called conservatives, if you believe the story on HuffPost, do you feel like they're out of line for pointing it out? Or do you think it was very specific wording for a very specific reason? Get in the comment section and let me know. Thank you guys for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C, or at least that's how I identify. Rock on!